Hi everyone and welcome to our video on analyzing characters and their relationships. Make sure you have your video visa set up on the left side of your notebook ready to go so that you can analyze the video after you're done watching it, and make sure that you have your note taker on the right ready to follow along with me. Make sure that you're using the video to take your notes so that you can make sure that your notes are accurate. Pause the video to give you enough time to write, and make sure you're using your neatest handwriting, because if you can't read it afterwards, then it's not going to be any help to you. I also suggest rewatching the video at least once to make sure that you didn't miss anything while you were pausing the video to write your notes down. So we are talking about analyzing characters today. We're going to talk first about individual characters and how you can look at different traits that they have to decide what they are like. We're going to talk about the appearance, the actions, the thoughts, and the feelings of a character. Then we're going to talk about the character relationships, and this means that we analyze how one character interacts with another. And I'm going to give you some questions that you can ask yourself to help decide what is their relationship like. All right, so first let's talk about a character's appearance. So this is an external trait, and what we mean by that is that it's something that if it was the real world, you could observe it by just looking at the character. Obviously, we're talking about text, so you're not going to actually see the character unless you're reading a picture book. But in chapter books, in text that you might find in other places besides a picture book or like a graphic novel, you're not going to see the character, okay? So that includes things like their face, their hair, their eyes, their height, their build, etc. Everything that you can see about the way they look. All right, this is told to us by a description that the author gives us, okay? Usually, if the author is giving us their appearance, it's because it has some sort of impact on the story, okay? If the way they look doesn't really matter to the text, we usually won't hear about it. So if you do hear a description of what they look like, pay attention to that and decide, well, why did the author want us to know that they looked this way? What does that mean for the character? Next, we're going to talk about the actions of a character. This is another external trait. Again, if we were in the real world, this is something that you could observe and you could see. These are the things that the character does and how the character reacts to others. So their actions or their reactions is what we're talking about here too. Again, this is something that the author will describe, right? So this is something you need to pay attention to see what do those actions tell you about the character? What inferences can you make based on those actions that give you a little bit more insight as to who this character is, what kind of person they are, what other clues it gives you about them. Then we have a character's thoughts. This is what goes on inside their head. This is something we would call an internal trait, because in the real world, you can't just look at them and see what they're thinking, right? This is shown in a text through the narration. That means that this is shown through either the first person or third person omniscient narrator. And if you're not sure what those are, you might want to check out my video on point of view to give you the description of each of those. But basically, when it's first person, the character is talking about themselves. So of course they can tell you what they're thinking if that's what the author chooses for them to do. A third person omniscient narrator is somebody that's outside of the main character, but knows what they're thinking and feeling. Again, the author can choose to have that narrator tell you what the character is thinking. Some thoughts also need to be inferred. They're not always going to straight out tell you what the character is thinking, but you can make an inference to decide, what do you think based on everything else you know about the character? What would they think in this situation? Okay. Again, these thoughts will give you lots of insight as to what kind of person this character is, because they'll tell you, what they're really thinking deep down inside, even if they don't show it. And then we have the feelings. This is another internal trait because it's something that goes on inside. Feelings and thoughts are very similar. This is also shown through their actions, their dialogue, their narration. All of those things together can tell you how a character feels about a particular situation or subject, or even how they feel about another character. Again, like the thoughts, some of these feelings need to be inferred based on their actions, their dialogue, things like that. Again, these tell you a little bit more about what this character really is like, and these sometimes change throughout the text, so it's important to pay attention to everything and make lots of inferences on your text evidence based on what the text is telling you about this character. So you should have this top part of your note taker ready. We're going to talk now about character relationships. So these are some questions. Remember when I said character relationships, that is you thinking about how one character interacts with another. So what do they say to each other? How do they behave? All of that stuff. Okay. So you can ask yourself, how are these characters connected? Are they siblings? Are they friends? Are they enemies? Are they neighbors? Why are these two characters interacting with each other? How are they connected? How do they behave towards each other? What actions do they have? How do they react to each other's words? Things like that. Is their relationship positive or negative? Right? Like I said, are they friends? Are they enemies? Are they just acquaintances that don't even really know each other all that much? What events or actions have had an impact on this relationship? Has there been something that made them friends? Has there been something that made them enemies? All of those actions and those events that have occurred in the story can impact a relationship. With that goes, is there any conflicts between the characters? Are some of those events or actions problematic? Did they cause a problem between them? And has their relationship changed? Maybe they started out as friends and now they're not friends anymore. If it happened, what caused this change? What was it that happened that made the relationship switch from one type to another? So it's important that whenever we're reading a text that has characters, we're thinking about the character as a whole in depth, right? Everything that the author tells you about a character is going to be important to the story. So if they told you their appearance, think about why. If they told you their inner thoughts, why? If they told you their feelings, why? The way that the author describes the actions, what does that tell you about them? And then think about how all of those things put together from each individual character affects their relationships, right? The way one character interacts with another compared to a different character might be different based on all of these things, of course, including the other events in the story. It's not just about the character traits, but the events as well. But analyzing their traits will give you a really good start to figuring out why the events in the story are happening the way that they're happening. So now that you have your notes all finished, make sure that you also complete your visa to help you reflect on the notes. Post your part A, which is the ask a question in Google Classroom or wherever else your teacher has asked you to do it. This part is really important for the next step, which is to discuss the video and apply the skill. That ask a question part is really going to help our discussion, dig a little deeper, reinforce our learning so that you'll be ready to apply and be able to analyze a character and their relationships with a text in class.